Hello everyone. Unfortunately, aside from various leaks, we still don't have any other information regarding the Amazing Digital Circus. So in this video, I decided to combine my best theories about our favorite clown Kaufmo and our equally favorite jester Pomni. In this video, you will learn the shocking facts about Kaufmo's disappearance and why Pomni will be the key to saving him. And not only him. Let's not hesitate and start our video. I have evidence that Kaufmo actually just achieved his abstraction and deliberately turned into this multi-eyed monster. The question that immediately arises is why I thought so. Now I will explain it to you in detail. His entire room is filled with the inscriptions exit, and no way out. But at first glance, the ordinary administrator Kane seemed to him the biggest evil in the digital circus, which only wants to mock the inhabitants of the circus. And after realizing all this, the clown was really obsessed with getting out of the Amazing Digital Circus. And like Pomni, he even found that very cherished door. Kaufmo not only saw it, but visited inside. It is proved by the pictures he drew of the same gloomy rooms where Pomni wandered in the pilot episode. In one of my videos, I already told you why they differ from each other in different characters, but as we already know, it may not be an exit from this virtual reality, but just another location built by Kane based on the wishes of the circus inhabitants. But it's not finished yet, so Kane hasn't shown it to anyone yet. This location is not completely ready, and judging by the state of Pomni at the moment of entering it, has a huge number of different bugs. All this just once again made Kaufmo realize that there is no way out of the circus. If Pomni, being a new member of the digital circus team, was so much affected by all the truth that Kane was so fiercely hiding, the impressionable and already mentally challenged Kaufmo was certainly in a state of complete apathy after walking through the familiar real-life locations that became his guide to the digital circus. And soon Kaufmo decided to take desperate measures. In one of the paintings, you can see him standing in front of his own abstracted version and the inscription, "Why?" That is, Kaufmo drew it before he turned into a monster. He deliberately sat and drew the picture, and even then he realized that it was about to happen. But for some reason, he didn't even resist it or try to prevent it in any way. Kaufmo only asked himself the question, why? Why is this happening? Why does everyone who goes crazy turn into it? And why does Kane dislike it so much? If he's only happy to mock them. Then we see on one of the paintings the inscription, "What does the exit say to the clown?" And then we see it again, only on his bed. But exit can't talk, so someone or something must have put thoughts in his head that made him go crazy. Something that made Kaufmo voluntarily turn into an abstracted monster. I think Kaufmo knew that all abstracted, Kane moves all abstracted people to the basement, an area closed off from all inhabitants of the digital circus, which is impossible to enter and where only abstracted people, who can also be seen in one of the pictures in Kaufmo's room. So maybe it is there in the basement, and not behind the spaces inside the mysterious door. What if abstracted is the way to the exit? Based on all this, it turns out as follows. Having the last hope to get out of the Amazing Digital Circus, Kaufmo decided to take a desperate step for a chance to get into the basement, the only area he hasn't explored yet, and where the real exit from the circus might be. But imagine how desperate and disillusioned you have to be in life to dare to take such a stupid action, because it was obvious to everyone that once you turn into a monster, you can never go back to your past life, but only become a brutal aggressor who doesn't remember absolutely nothing before. I'm sure Kaufmo knew all this, because 99% of the time he saw someone who no longer lived in the circus turn into a monster, and everyone saw the consequences. The same situation happened to Kaufmo. He doesn't recognize his friends, doesn't understand their words, and just attacks everything he sees. I think that in such a state, our clown is unlikely to look for a way out, even if he really is somewhere in the basement. But who could have made Kaufmo turn himself into an abstracted monster? Many people mistakenly think that it was Kane who made Kaufmo become what we saw in the pilot episode, but I can make you sad or happy if I say that this is a huge mistake. After all, if you think deeper and in more detail, that painting on the wall is too obvious a message for anyone to see. And if Kane really was the one who made Kaufmo go crazy, he would have probably noticed such a serious piece of evidence and removed it from the digital space. But that didn't happen, so we have to look elsewhere. I don't think anyone would think of harmless Gangle and Regatha or Old Kinger, but the most obvious ones are Jax or Zubul, and that's where the fun begins. Despite the fact that Jax is an arrogant guy who is not interested in anyone's life but his own, he is not a traitor. He's just a mentally lost character who's too much of a tough guy. If Jax knew about this, he would have gone to catch Gloinks rather than accompany Regatha and Pomni, where he actually ran away after seeing this horrible scene. Even for the sake of an alibi, Jax will not put himself in such grave danger, because he loves only himself more than anyone else in this circus. And here is Zubul, this strange figure I propose to take a closer look at. A lot of people wouldn't even think about her, because the pilot episode doesn't reveal her identity in any way, but I'm sure it's on purpose. After all, even after she had collected all her body parts, you could hear, "I can't believe Kaufmo gave up so easily, and now we will proceed to prove our words." Many people have noticed that the final scene of the pilot episode of the Amazing Digital Circus is very similar to the world-famous and very popular painting Last Supper, which depicts Jesus Christ's last meal with his disciples the day before his crucifixion. However, this is not just a reference for the sake of reference, but a direct hint to us. At this very moment, Jesus informs the disciples that one of them is a traitor and will betray his mentor very soon. In all pop culture parodies, as in Jesus' original work, the Messiah always sits in the center, and the second person to his left will turn out to be a traitor like Judas Iscariot. An important detail is that while everyone is talking quietly among themselves, Judas sits silently, watching everything going on, and rests his elbow on the table. We see a similar picture in the digital circus, but the traitor is not the second character on the left, but the second character on the right. Again, it is Zubul putting out his elbow, silently watching a very upset Pomni. Thus, Gooseworx directly hints to us that the traitor is neither Kinger, nor Cain, nor even Jax, but the unremarkable Zubul. But if Zubul is indeed a traitor, then Pomni in this case represents Jesus Christ. Even on the official concept art, Pomni is depicted as Jesus crucified on a cross. It's also important to note that she healed her own hand from glitches without the help of Cain, just as Jesus healed himself and others. If you read Tumblr Gooseworx, you will realize that the creator is directly saying that the digital circus is literally a cartoon purgatory, so the reference to the Last Supper is not a coincidence at all, but an important plot component in which Pomni is the Messiah. So let's examine this theory in a little more detail. Pomni is the most energetic of all the characters. I would even say that she is a rebel, because the amount of foul words she uttered in a few seconds speaks volumes. And now let's imagine what Pomni can do to save everyone else, and in what form this very salvation consists. Perhaps Pomni will take a long time to explain why she is the only one who sees a door with an exit. Despite the fact that recently we said that this space is nothing more than Cain's creation, but still the final scene makes us think that it is really impossible to get out through the void, but the room in front of the corridor may be the key to the solution of the exit from the damn circus, because this interpretation is very suitable for this place. In the final of the pilot episode, we were shown this unfortunate desktop with a computer and headset. So Cain knows that it is possible to get out of the circus, but he skillfully disguised it by creating the void, and thus masterfully confusing all those who managed to get behind this door, including Pomni was also deceived. After analyzing all this, Pomni will realize that she has been deceived and she will have only one thing left to do, to prove to everyone else that the way out really exists and is not a common joke among the inhabitants of the digital space. Given that the pilot episode proved the closeness between Pomni and another girl in the circus, Ragatha, it is likely that the first person Pomni will try to convince will be Ragatha. After a long time, Pomni will be able to convince Ragatha that she is right and prove to her that all the words about the exit are actually true. Ragatha will also try long and hard to prove to everyone that Pomni is right, and only after a few days or weeks will everyone believe her. And then the fun begins. I can certainly write a continuation of this theory in a community post, but I'd love to read your options in the comments. I will be glad to each of you and will definitely add you to the next video. Well, that's all. I wish you success and good luck, and say see you soon in new videos that appear every 2 days.